Hello everybody and welcome to the very first episode of the Cookie Critiques. This show, as you could probably tell by the name, is all about critiquing cookies, and specifically chocolate chip cookies. My name is Dan. This is my beautiful girlfriend Melanie. She's going to be helping me here with the first episode. After this she probably won't talk to me any longer, so I'll probably have to find another co-host as we go on.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. So why am I doing cookie critiques? Well, first and foremost, I love chocolate chip cookies. Ever since I was a little boy, my dad always tells me a story how I used to sit in the high chair and yell for cookies constantly, and that seems to have followed me throughout my adult life. So I still call for cookies all the time, and Melanie can attest to that.
Absolutely, you are a cookie monster.
I am a cookie monster, as you can tell from the Cookie Monster shirt and the Cookie Monster hat.
Yes.
So, thank you. I appreciate that. I look good in blue, don't I?
You do.
I do.
You look good, yes.
Brings out my eyes,
Yes.
which are brown.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
That's okay.
That's okay. So we're here to do the very first episode of the Cookie Critiques. So how do we get started on this? So several weeks ago, a friend of mine from high school, who will rename nameless at this point, but he posted, he lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he posted pictures from a bakery out there of these chocolate chip cookies. And to me, that's kind of like food porn. And I looked at these cookies and I was like, oh my God, look at those cookies. So I ordered them and I got them and I ate them. What a great concept, right? So they were very good. And then another friend of mine, also on Facebook, she tagged me in an article of the 50 top chocolate chip cookie places in the country, one for each state. So the top chocolate chip cookie place in each state. And she tagged me in it, and I started reading through it, and I brought it up at work to some people who also know I'm a cookie monster, and they said, hey, you should do YouTube videos about critiquing cookies from all across the country. And I thought, hey, that's a great idea.
Voila.
And here we are for our first episode of the Cookie Critiques. So what I did, there was a particular article that talked about several states and the cookies in them, and then I started to do some more research, and I found several articles that critique chocolate chip cookies. But the one thing I noticed is the critiques went on different items. So some went by the number of positive reviews on Yelp, some were votes, but nobody really sat down and actually ordered cookies from each state and tasted every single one of them,
right,
and critiqued them. So me needing another reason to eat chocolate chip cookies, I thought this would be a great public service for me to do.
Absolutely.
Yes, public service. And this, I'm doing this for you. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the adoring public on chocolate chip cookies and which ones might taste better than others. And of course, everybody has their own likes and dislikes when it comes to chocolate chip cookies. And I will be sharing mine with you, and whoever my co-host is. Like I said, Melanie's probably going to quit after this week. So whoever the co-host is here, they will also give their critique of the same chocolate chip cookies, and they'll have different likes and dislikes than I do. So without further ado, let's get started on our very first location. One of the locations that kept coming up in several reviews across the country was a place out of Gilbert, Arizona. Now, I was kind of surprised by this, not by they were in Arizona, but the place that we're about to critique is actually not a bakery. It's a deli, and it's called Not Your Typical Deli, and they're in Gilbert, Arizona, and they were at the top of several articles rating chocolate chip cookies. So let me tell you a little bit. I'm going to give you some information on them. This is a low budget show, by the way. We don't have teleprompters.
Really?
We're low. It's very low budget. Maybe in the future, if we get picked up by NBC or CBS, then we will be. Yes. Why don't you hold that? So at the top, you can see Not Your Typical Deli in Gilbert, Arizona. Their email address is on there. The Cookie Critiques info is at the bottom, so that's where you can see us. We're also going to post these videos on our Facebook page, which is brand new, so I haven't invited.
Like us on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook. And then down at the bottom, if you have any information about cookie places you want us to critique across the country, you can put that at the bottom. Or if you have any requests for anything else, like if you want to be a cookie host, or you want us to actually come to your venue, let us know. You can find us there.
Yes.
So you can see I'm planning on this becoming very, very popular.
Yes.
So, not your typical deli in Gilbert, Arizona. Now, a couple of things when I emailed the deli over Yelp. Actually, was my first interaction with them, and very quickly I got a response from Pamela. Actually, Pam DePalma, who is the co-owner and manager of Not Your Typical Deli. And she was very quick to respond, and she was very happy to provide us with information on how we could get chocolate chip cookies. Now, she didn't, when I first tried to order, she said, well, we don't normally ship chocolate chip cookies. And I said, Pam, I said, you are popping up on all these articles and obviously getting very popular. And these articles, Travel and Leisure, which is a nationwide article, wrote a critique about her cookies and actually picked her cookies #1 in the country. I said, with all this attention, maybe you should start thinking about shipping your cookies. And so what she did for us is she baked a fresh batch of cookies and she overnighted them to us. And they got all the way from Gilbert, Arizona to here in Orlando, Florida. And this is what we found.
Okay.
So when we received the cookies, Pam had packaged them for us in a Ziploc bag. So first, let me show you what the cookies look like. And I left them in the box just to build a little suspense, you know,
Yes.
like kind of like an Alfred Hitchcock of cookies here. But this is what the cookies look like.
They are huge.
They are huge. So the first thing I noticed when I opened the box and actually cracked open one of the bags was the smell was incredible. So these are, and actually when the very first time I opened the box, and we don't have video of this, I wish we did, but I smelled the cookies and I immediately got goosebumps all over my arms because I was so excited. So the smell was just outrageous. So that's what and what I like about the look of the cookies is they're very random. You know, like store-bought manufactured cookies are round, stamped out. These have great topography to them.
They're obviously homemade.
Yes, these are obviously homemade. Now I found out from Pam, because I asked her, I said, is there brown sugar in the cookies? Because I have tasted the cookies a little bit already, and and I love brown sugar in cookies. And she laughed and said, I can't give you all the details, but one of the chefs at Not Your Typical Deli, this is a recipe that was passed down through his family by his grandmother, and they make these, and they make these except much larger than I think Grandma originally intended. So
They smell good.
they smell very good. So before we go into we do have a checklist of everything we're going to critique about the cookies, but I wanted to give you a little bit more information about Pam. She was fantastic over the phone, hooked us up with the cookies, sent these off to us, and I did call the deli once to actually, the first time that I talked to Pam, I spoke to one of the employees there who was very nice, didn't know who I was, very nice, very customer service oriented, so that was refreshing. And he actually called Pam on her cell phone, and she called me back within a few minutes. So that was a great experience. And a couple other things about Not Your Typical Deli. So this is a card that Pamela sent along with the cookies. So Not Your Typical Deli is a full-service delicatessen and bakery located in Gilbert, Arizona. We showcase local products and services, including local artists, bakers, and other culinary professionals. We provide guests with a unique dining and shopping experience. Not Your Typical Deli was created to make a difference. This is the part that we really like. Melanie and I are very much involved in work within the community, so I think it's very important to support your community. So this paragraph really, put Pam in her business in a wonderful light for us. Not Your Typical Deli was created to make a difference because not only do we serve incredible food, we also have an integrated work environment for individuals with developmental disabilities. So Pam not only has a great product and a great deli, but she sounds like she's also a very great person. So we wanted to give a shout out to Pam for being such a great person. And she also sent along this, the menu, the regular menu. Now again, not a bakery, it's a deli. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but if you look down here, the spaghetti sandwich where my finger is, I mean, that sounds incredible. And I don't know, Pam, if you could send us a spaghetti sandwich
Like a cheese dog.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an incredible menu. And if I'm ever in Arizona, which I sometimes end up there for my regular job for trade shows, I'm going to make a trek over to Gilbert and check out Pam's Place. Now they're closed Sundays and Mondays, but they're open Tuesday through Saturday, and this is their regular menu. So thank you, Pam, for sending all that information over to us. So let me see. I'm following our teleprompter here, which is also just a sheet of paper. Again, we're very low budget. Everybody's going to start off somewhere. Dell Computers started off in their garage, and they've grown. They've done pretty well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Okay.
So let me make sure I went over everything. Oh, one of the things on Pam's Facebook page, facebook.com/notyourtypicaldeli. One thing I noticed, they have 389 Facebook reviews. And they have 5 out of 5 stars. Not 4.9, not 4.7, but they are 5 out of 5, which, I work in customers. I mean, everybody who works or owns a business works in customer service in some form or fashion. So I know it's very hard to get 5 out of 5 stars. Pam has 5 out of 5 stars on 389 reviews. So that's incredible in itself. Okay, so the grading system that I've come up with: weight, size, appearance, smell, chocolate chip density, taste of the chips, taste of the cookie, dry taste, milk taste test, absorbency, and the milk crumble factor. Now, what is the milk crumble factor? What I like to do is eat chocolate chip cookies, and I dunk them in milk. And what I like is when they break off and you get little pieces of chocolate chips and cookies at the bottom of the glass. So when you're all finished and you drink that milk, you kind of get that sludge of chocolate chips and cookies that you can just eat as you're drinking the milk.
Yes.
So that's also going to be a very important item that we test on. So let's take a look. We do happen to have a food scale here, which most people use to weigh out chicken breasts and broccoli. Yeah, and we use it for chocolate chip cookies. So we both go to the gym several times a week, and it's really just, it's really so I can eat chocolate chip cookies and not be 500 pounds. So we're going to take one of Pam's cookies and we're going to drop it on the scale here. We need a drum roll sound effect. So 6.7 ounces.
It's a big cookie.
So this is a big cookie. 6.7 ounces on the weight. So what we're going to do is Melanie and I are going to rank the cookies on a scale of 1 to 10. I wanted to do 1 to 100, but she corrected me.
100,
Yeah. So we're going to rank it 1 to 10, and at the end we're going to add it all up, and we're going to give it a final score. So the weight factor, these are very large cookies. Now some people might not like very large cookies. You might like bite-sized cookies, so you might give this a low rating. But I like big cookies. I like cookies that I say, because this way I could sit down and say, I only ate 1 cookie today.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important for you.
It's important for me.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and the weight, and the next one is the size. So we'll put both of those together, weight and size.
Oh, and the same thing here?
Yeah, they're kind of, let's go ahead and fill those out. And the third item is the appearance of the cookie. So what does it look like? I like that it's a very random cookie. I like that it's topographically pleasing. It's a big word, right?
Good job.
Topographically. That's a word you probably don't associate with cookies, but I like all the peaks and valleys and the randomness.
They're each unique.
Yeah.
They're very individual.
You're right. It's very individual. It makes you think that the cookie was made just for you.
Yes.
No two cookies are alike. So
Yes.
this is a beautiful chocolate chip cookie in my opinion. So we're going to go ahead and rate the appearance. The smell of the chocolate chip cookie, as I mentioned, as you can imagine, that's going to be a 10 for me because even just sitting here, I can smell the cookies, and
Yes.
I'm starting to salivate a little bit. So if you think, is he drooling? You're probably yes. The answer is probably yes. I talk too much. Yeah, so. That's okay. I'm trying to fill time.
Okay,
So
okay.
chocolate chip density. What does chocolate chip density mean? That means looking at the cookie. Are there enough chocolate chips spread throughout the cookie? Is it just right? Is it too many, or is it not enough? I mean, I think this is beautiful in the chocolate chip density. To me,
I agree.
I might add a few more chocolate
Oh,
chips? No, you like it?
I
Okay.
I'm just